Okay, so I actually wanted to, I'm just running to the store and coming back, but I wanted to talk about how bad humans are at predicting the future. And it doesn't matter who it is and how much education you have and, the background that you actually have with understanding, various different aspects. It's just behaviorally very difficult to predict the future. And also understand what to do, even if you know that prediction, and even understanding the fact that you don't know it very well, you can't predict the future very well. It's incredibly difficult to sort of do these things where you make a prediction and then sort of execute on that particular prediction. There's all sorts of research on this. It's kind of like the fundamental thing that we repeatedly, as social scientists, find over and over and over again, is that we're just really bad at sort of making these predictions of the future or judgments of the future and executing on them. And so I actually want to talk about that as something that sort of, as somebody that's building something, the whole reciprocity project and reciprocity platform. So if you don't know me, I'm a associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And, what I'm trying to do is actually build this sort of sharing economy editing platform so you can get feedback on your work. It's sort of this idea where, you find people in a marketplace, and then you have a combination of, machines, software algorithms and all that kind of stuff, but also like the people sort of helping you get feedback on writing, and eventually, it could kind of expand to other things. And I've been doing this for, I had the initial idea probably like 5 years ago, but when I started executing on it, I think it's been like 4 years that I've been doing this for. And I know that sort of in the long run, actually sort of two things. My sort of prediction of how long the long run is with this is really off, but also sort of, how much work it is involved and sort of tricky it is to do these things. But, the sort of other thing, the prediction, I think I'm really sort of confident, or I'm been doing this for so long now that I'm very confident that this is the right sort of direction. But, the challenge with it is sort of executing and doing it every day. But also, on the short run, I completely underestimate. I always feel like I'm not accomplishing that much, or I'm not getting there, or I'm sort of missing the mark. My expectation is that it's going to be very quick, and yet I still feel, even with all of this information, and I've studied technology and innovation and engineering and all this, all this kind of stuff, and I still feel like it should happen a heck of a lot faster than what it truly does. And I forget and sort of how incremental and sort of slow these things are. And so, I'm sure if any of you have done the startup thing, or created your own blog or whatever, any of that kind of stuff, you realize, like, you check your analytics like every day. You're like, oh, did anything happen? Anything big? Did you get more traffic? And really, nothing that much happens on a day-to-day basis. It's just kind of like a slow grind. So that's why I realize that you kind of have to make this stuff part of your life. And my life is crazy. I'm going to tell you that. I got lots going on. Being a professor, you do a lot of research, and I got kids at home, and I got a wife, and I've got, I want to make sure that I'm healthy and keeping time for myself. So I just got a lot of stuff. And where I need to know, or I need to sort of make this part of, is just, it's part of my life. And there's something that I do, and it is really important that I do it. But also the fact that I have to keep sort of recalibrating so many times. Both on how, in the short run, how, recalibrating my sort of short run expectations and say, it's going to take a lot longer. I always think like, okay, we're doing this little this little feature on the platform that I think is going to be cool. And I'm always like, oh, okay, it's going to be like a week. No, it's like 6 weeks. You know? Or the long run is like, oh, it's going to be here really quickly. And yeah, it'll be here. But, you know, it's one of these things that it's a decade of doing and a decade of working. And then when that decade happens, when you're out a decade out, it's still not going to be there. It's still going to seem like, man, you know, I'm a decade in and this is what I've accomplished and lots has been done, but it's still not quite there. And that's where I think that this has to be really part of your life and a part of who you are. And, you know, make the barrier, if you're doing anything like this, so minimal in your life that it's just something you do. It's just like your thing. Or, you know, that's where I'm trying to, if you notice, like with the podcasts and the videos and all that kind of stuff, I realize that I cannot sort of do the production that everybody want, you know, the expectation of sort of making an NBC or a PBS on video or whatever, you know, like but I just have to make these like little quick things. Like, it's just my life and it's just part of it, and I just have to make time for that. And so it's the same thing as doing this podcast right now. You just kind of have to make time for it. I'm never going to get time for it otherwise. And I need to do these things to actually, you know, connect with you and sort of share what's going on and share my thoughts. And I have to repeatedly do that. So, you know, that's a long story short, is that I just want to say, hey, thanks for following along. I apologize for sort of the informalness or the fact that it doesn't seem like much, but I need to do that to be having a part of my life, because it's just like too much crazy going on. I cannot have a studio and all that kind of stuff. So I just want it to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm chill. I'm part of your life, and let's do something cool together. And hopefully that's where you see it. So that's it. My drive is done. I'll catch you later. Take care. Bye. Oh.